I feel like I am freezing all the time, like constantly cold. Like even today, it took me an hour and a half to get out. I was just procrastinating and eventually went and did a 10-mile run. But I'm still wearing tracksuit bottoms and hoodies. I just feel cold all the time. I know we talked before in the podcast about how beneficial. And I'm getting to a point in a second. This has a smashing conclusion to this one. Trust me on that. But last year when I'm talking about sea swimming and stuff, and be like, no, that's not for me. And this was like September, and I was just freezing in the water. I've been in the water, the Irish Sea in August. Maybe it's always cold. I don't know. It's one thing that puts me off triathlons is constantly cold. So I'm constantly thinking about, cold exposure, this different thing, and just like really just, it's just annoying how easily I am cold right now. I'm like, I have to do something. So maybe do this Wim Hof method. Maybe I'll do, the cold shower. So went through a period of, you have a hot shower and a cold shower, 3 seconds to a minute. Like I was doing that kind of stuff. And then like last week, myself and herself went to some relaxation pool and steam room and all the rest. I hadn't got a sauna. I was very annoyed about that. But anyway, we were supposed to be there for 90 minutes. And after 30, I was like tapping out like, Neve, I'm done. And I tried to hop into the cold shower after the steam room. I was in there for like all of a half a second. And I was like, ooh, that was incredibly cold. I can't hack it. So here's where it hits a crescendo in my story and why I feel like I need to do something with down the rabbit hole about ice baths. Apart from seeing all the posts, I even seen it in newspaper articles this week. I woke up Wednesday morning for a reason. Very cold, couldn't get the heat into me for whatever reason. And this week I was doing a cycling into work. This week I was driving in, whatever. And I'm very sleepy in the mornings as well. Sometimes I don't make smart decisions, including this morning. So quick bit of food, on out the door. And I'm just feeling cold. An extra layer on me, but I still feel cold. And I get to the car and our gates are closed. So it's a good 30, 40 meters, if even. That's probably over exaggerating from where the car is to the gate. And I'm like, right before I get to open the gate, I said, I'll put the key in the ignition to the car, start up the car, because that extra 20 seconds of the car heating up before I hop into it is going to get the heating on quicker. Key into the car, car hits the house.
Oh no.
Let me tell you, if you ever want to be woken up in the morning, make a critical mistake like smashing the car off there.
Oh my
So what happened was the car was in gear and I didn't know. So I had opened the door and I had put the key in, but I hadn't actually sat into it and it just shot forward. I tell you, I didn't need a cup of coffee for the next couple of hours because I was wide awake. And it wasn't as cold all of a sudden either.
It's called the Sean Coffee method.
So if you ever want to wake up, just do something really stupid in the morning and that will wake you up.
Now, equally, why do people leave their car in gear unless they're parked on a hill?
I had to before the handbrake was gone. But, so of course I had to apologise. I had to own up my mistake.
No, I know it's your mistake, but I equally just don't understand. Like, if you know your handbrake's broken, then you've got more issues and you're like, handbrake's broken. It's in gear.
I had to apologise. So when I said to her, she's like, you must have left it in gear. And I was like, uh-oh. I was like,
it was you.
You drove it last, but I can't give it out to you because it was my issue, it was my fault. But anyway, just to make it more of a So it was like, Mark, I felt like
that's a sign of maturity, knowing when to stop.
I had to stop. I was like, it's my fault. I had no business doing it that way, but I did it and I messed up. But to get back to something that people might actually take something from this, I still don't know what I'm going to do, the Wim Hof method, the cold showers, anything like that. I do think there's a lot of placebo to it. But I was looking to ice baths and the pros and cons and stuff like that. And the recovery thing seems to be like the main. Obviously, people go into an ice bath to recover because it stops inflammation. But inflammation is not necessarily a bad thing because it stimulates muscle growth and stuff like that. So if you're going for like hypertrophy gains, using ice baths may not be the best solution for you straight after. But if you need a quick turnaround, so let's say you've got a hard training session and then you hop into an ice bath, then it could start the recovery process and reduce swelling and stuff a lot quicker, so then you'd be able to train longer. So I suppose the thing with the ice bath seems to be, if you need to get more training sessions in, it can be appropriate to get the ice baths. But if you're, it just seems like a very like go-to thing for recovery. The odd kind of way, like it's like the best thing for recovery is sleep. But sure, anyone can sleep 7-8 hours. Whereas hopping the ice bath seems like the cool thing. Like, have you used ice bath before?
I haven't used ice baths before. Yes, I have when I was playing soccer ball at a higher level, younger ages. It was, again, I think it's one of these things that comes in waves. Pardon the pun. When it comes ice bath. But yeah, that was in 2010, operating in teams around the League of Ireland. It was very much part of the post-training session. There was 3 or 4 of them there, and you could jump in them. But yeah, it was something that people kind of did. Now, I was youngish, and I didn't really care much for it. But I do appreciate the power of marketing. Because like that, I have been getting not as much as you, but I have been getting notifications of the breathing techniques, of the ice baths, and seeing more and more people in my feed posting themselves getting ice baths or having their own ice baths at home. And I suppose there's a couple. So one of the guys in work actually does it every morning. That's his new thing. So
ice bath every morning.
Yeah, every morning, and then he's freezing in the car all the way to work, and he has the heating on. He defrosts about halfway. Is how he describes it. But he said it's absolutely brilliant. Now he's doing a lot of training. He's Ironman after Ironman, and he says it's absolutely brilliant for one, waking up. Yeah, he was like, you're awake. And then he says it just gives him a good start to the day. Now he does 10 minutes. So he sits in, so he's breaking the ice in the morning because it's obviously so cold, and then he just gets in for 10 minutes. And then he warms up after that. So he will do his ice bath and then go run.
Oh God.
Yeah. So when we're in Athlone on the air ambulance, he will go down to the Shannon, get into the Shannon for 10 minutes. Freezing, get out, put on the runners, and he'll go do his 10K.
Wow. I think there's something to it, is like it's getting that hard thing done in the morning as well. It's like that dopamine of doing something challenging, something tough that like I can't imagine that gets easier for him. Like that's not something that he does every day. Oh, it's easy doing now. It's more like that motivation, that routine of just keep going at it and going at it and going at it.
The repetition, I suppose the body will get used to things. Like the body is adaptable as anything, and it'll get used to, here we go, and then you're breathing and just relaxing and knowing what to expect and exposure and everything that does to the nervous system and the parasympathetic system and everything. You're just like, we're used to this now. You know, like it's but yeah, no, he did have a lot of reasons for it, and I'm struggling to drag out the exact, but he's definitely one we could definitely get on the podcast.
100% to be interesting.
But yeah, I'm gonna start doing it when I get back down there with him.
Are you?
Yeah. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna get into the Shannon with him and just see why. Because because like you, I've seen all this, and my brother's doing the sea swims every Saturday morning, and I don't know, he's coming out like hypothermia, mild hypothermia every day, and I'm like, this is kind of stupid. But there always, like anything, is a background science to the whys. The problem is, and I know for a fact, a lot of people who are doing this are not sure as to why. They're not sure as to the exact method based on performance. So obviously, if you're on the game train, you probably shouldn't be, like, or like the timing of it, like it's like anything. It's like nutrition, for example. It's like let's take even towards the end when we're tapering, like they're carb loading. It's a method. It is a method that has a lot of research into it, and it has a prescribed value timings and etc. to get the best out of it. Otherwise, are you really giving yourself a helping hand? Maybe not.
It's
mentally,
not just
absolutely.
Yeah,
but so there has to be. My personal opinion is you need to know why you're doing it. You need to know when to do it, and what effect it is having, and then have that control. Now, we always say mentally, if you feel like it's making you do better, keep doing it.
Yes.
But if you're actually looking for, right, this is making me better because, and backing that up, that's why I have to do it. And maybe, and I'm fairly certain he's done a lot of research into it, and that's why he's doing the cold water before he goes running. He's getting the muscles to warm up with him because, and I think it is to do with the inflammation. It prevents the inflammation developing during his run and after. So he's actually recovering then quicker by just getting in the shower then and going to work.
And I assume that's because of like he said at the start of it, he's doing triathlons and Ironman, so he's probably out running, cycling, swimming every day of the week nearly. So it's the absolute volume.
Twice, yeah.
So it's because that's so much. I can only assume until we have in the podcast that it's because of that absolute volume that it's reducing swelling, inflammation, everything else. That he doesn't need that time to. He needs to get back out there as quick as he can. So that's why the ice baths is happening. But if you're only training 3 times a week, the ice baths are probably not necessary. It's probably not best getting up and losing an extra half hour, 40 minutes sleep to set up an ice bath and go for it, where an extra 40 minutes in that case would do that person better. But if he gets an extra 40 minutes of sleep, it probably means that he hasn't got time to get his run in before going to work. And all of a sudden he's 10K down. And that the volume and the mileage of what he needs to that week, that will soon enough add up, is what I can assume.